All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy YFE, and on my debut Bleach video, I decided to bring on somebody who arguably might be more excited than the actual fans to see me make Bleach content, and that is my boy Chuck. So, Chuck, you want to go ahead and say what's up?
So yeah, this fool, he read like hundreds of chapters. He's already pretty, deep into it. So, I'm pretty excited to hear like what his thoughts are going to be on this, and we're going to be discussing some stuff along the way. So, yeah, bro.
Yeah. So, one thing just to clarify with people, I actually was screen sharing with him for a couple hours. I just read up to the finale of the Ukiura and Ichigo fight. So that's where I'm at. About 356 or something like that, in that range. So a little over halfway. And I've already got about 9 topics. It was 10, but the 10th kind of has to do with 2 of the others. So no sense in really talking about it too much. But we're going to go ahead and address them in kind of a podcast format, and just give people an idea of my current stance on Bleach, where I'm likely to go with content, and what people can to expect from it. So, first of all, versus matchups might be tricky, and that, of course, is because, for one, a lot of the Bleach characters are spirits or have to do with like spirit type properties. And so outside of the verse,
But
you
chakra and ki are the same. And spiritual pressure, they're like all the same thing.
don't be surprised if I get that comment. People have been wilding lately, but that it's like, but stuff like that, you kind of do want to. If you don't make it to where it's an outerverse fight that has 2 characters with similar properties, you at least have to like address early in the video, yo, just so you know, technically he shouldn't be able to see, let's say, like Grimjow, but for this battle, for the sake of it being interesting, we're gonna assume he can type shit, right? So, versus matchups will be tricky because of that, but I mean, something like Star Wars versus Bleach right now still really interests me. Um, I think because of this, Jedi versus Soul Society, more specifically Captains, was one I liked. And I before I get into my fresh opinion on Star Wars and Bleach, Chuck, why were you interested in Star Wars versus Bleach?
Yeah, so one thing straight off about like the Sith and the Jedi and the Soul Reapers, Espada, like obviously they use blades to fight each other, and they have abilities that is based on their life force, right? And another thing that's really cool is that like with the Sith and the Espada, they are associated with death in one way or another. Right? Like the Espada, they represent like different aspects of it, and the Sith, like um, I guess like they have a they they can represent like the how do I put it? Hold on. Yeah, like and some Sith are associated with death. Nihilus, I mean, he's supposed to be like a crack or a what was it like a wound in the force, right? And he's
Yeah, he
like
was a wound.
yeah, and he has to literally keep feeding on people. He has to like consume and consume, and other Sith deal with basically consuming others and getting stronger. And Espada, to evolve into that state, they had to like undergo like this hollow evolution, and they had to eat a lot of hollows to get there. So yeah, I think they're pretty similar in that regard. For the scaling, uh, I don't know that much about Star Wars scaling, but I would imagine that the high tiers have like a pretty good chance against like some of the Bleach characters. Now it would get more questionable the higher you go, but then again, there are like crazy like arguments for the son and the father and stuff like that in Star Wars for sure. But then again, Bleach too, you can wank them really high. But yeah, like I think just generally because they fight each other with blades, and um, I guess they transform in a way too. Like, I mean, Vader, right? Like he was Anakin, then became all edgy, became Vader, right? And then like Revan, he went to the light side, dark side, light side again, right? So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. One thing that's big is when you look at the dark side, it actually does physically change you as well. And like all levels, dabbling in the dark side, you're gonna see what they call like force degradation. But when you see that, sometimes it varies. Like for example, Count Dooku was very measured in how he messed with it. Whereas you would see someone like a Darth Sion who was basically nothing but the dark side, right? So I think what interests me for Star Wars Bleach comparisons is one, both have several ranges of arguments for power scaling. You have accepted arguments in Bleach for, like, I guess what you would call casual scaling. You would have conventional scaling in Star Wars. You would have higher tier scaling, and then you would have like just unconventional slash people's own personal opinion from their studies, which is so like something I'd consider myself. So I think the different ranges of power scaling makes it super fascinating. There's also, in my opinion, a lot of the Bleach characters you can kind of find thematically a similar character somewhere in Star Wars lore. So seeing at least thematically them match up is dope. In my opinion, Bleach, when it talks about the different range, like the different types of characters, it's they've got good and bad, but they also have the gray. They have in between. For example, like Visors, to me, for the most part, were kind of portrayed as like a gray Jedi would be seen in Star Wars. So
Yeah, they have the aspects of like both sides pretty much.
yeah, it's potential filled in terms of what we could see come from crossover matchups. For me, like I said, I'm halfway through. Kenpachi versus Vader or something to that degree was interesting, but then I thought of like how like Kenpachi or Grimjow maybe against a Darth Sion would be dope. I mean, there's just so much um, we could really do with Star Wars versus Bleach. And what's really key too is a lot of Star Wars characters can nullify questions you have going into battles involving Bleach, which would be stuff like can they even see Ichigo? Can they even affect him?
They
Star
could
Wars can
sense
do
them,
that.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, so the parallels, the likeness in different characters, and the power sets and abilities are interesting because where Star Wars characters have force abilities, Bleach characters have stuff like Bankai. And they also do have access to spells and other things of that nature. So I think there's a lot of potential matching these two up, kind of piggybacking off what you said. And, you know, one thing I think me and you agreed that will be fun to do and likely will involve both of us is Sith versus Espada. Um,
Mhm.
so those that either only know one and aren't as familiar for the other, or just want to hear us kind of break it down real quick, um, how would you summarize the Espada?
Okay, so in Bleach, there are these two types of souls. There are like the hollows, which are basically like the souls that either committed like some horrible act or um, they basically they basically had like some regret, right? Or they had some intensity that caused them to fall into despair, basically. And then there are the holes, which are the souls that are pretty much stable, like they can go onto the Soul Society, right? Like if a Soul Reaper accesses them, and then with the hollows, like the soul reapers have to either purify them, right, or they have to kill them, and they can be sent to hell if they had like really terrible crimes. But basically but the Hollows, they can undergo through several like evolutions, because one part of their nature is that they always have to feed each other. They always have to feed upon each other to try to like let the despair go away. Like they want to reach some type of resolve or more power. And the Hollows that wanted more power evolved into Adhuchas, and then they evolved into the Vastalorde, which is like the like basically like the highermost state of an. And the thing is, to become an Espada, it is really hard, because not only do you have to survive getting eaten, but you also have to keep consuming like as much as you can. And even then, like even if you keep consuming, there's like a certain limit. And some hollows like Grimjow and Ukiara, they had some trouble with this at first. Grimjow was pretty much like a panther, right? And then like he was met up with other hollows that had evolved, but they were like, we really cannot reach any further than this, but you can if you eat us. And that is how Grimjow was able to become like an Espada like that, right? Um, but yeah, like they're like heavily evolved hollows with the power of Soul Reaper. So they're pretty much like in between like those two like worlds, right? As you said, pretty much great Jedi.
Yeah, that and I think, this will I think people understand why we're so interested in this as I break down the Sith right now. Um One thing I want to start with is being a Sith, I think, is more significant than casual people give it credit for. To be acknowledged in history as an actual, like, ranked Sith, whether it's a Sith general, assassin, a lord, is very impressive because, there's users of the dark side and then there's the Sith. Kind of like the Espada is one of the most prestigious ranks in its particular area. That'd be the same thing for being a Sith Lord. So the Sith are users of the dark side. The Force itself is described as kind of, encompassing everything in reality that include like dualities and stuff. And there's a good side or a light side and a dark side. Both exist and there's a balance in between. The Sith are the ones who practice the dark side of the Force and use it to achieve power. The dark side of the Force more is inclined to achieve power, and we directly see that in the practices of the Sith. For the main teachings of the Sith is the rule of two, which would be the master who has the power and the apprentice who seeks the power. And this is how the Sith got stronger over the years. And eventually, we've seen several times throughout history, they've actually either threatened the entirety of the Galactic Republic, taken it over, and taken down entire eras of the Jedi. So the Sith have so many characters throughout history to choose from, and I think them versus the Espada, the known, famous and powerful Sith, is going to be super dope to see.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if y'all could tell the audience, but I mean, me and Chuck are definitely going to be. I'm not sure on matchups yet because a lot of them could end up hot takes. Like a lot of characters could end up a lot stronger. So we're gonna hold off on like announcing matchups, but I can for sure guarantee at least I will be looking into Sith Espada because there's a lot of potential there. Now, next up, this is something, and Chuck can speak to this a lot more, and I'll probably let him start on this after I address it. But I've noticed as I've gotten into Bleach, just from my years on Discord and power scaling on Discord and even my own comment section, there seems to be a lot of downplay and like just hate on higher end Bleach scaling, and I don't quite get why. Chuck, do you have any experience with it or any insight on that?
Yeah, yeah. So like one thing is like people saying, oh, Bleach characters aren't light speed, or like they're like hypersonic barely, right? But there's like a lot of early spells, even like, you know, not even the best Soul Reapers like can use these spells that are like lightning, or they use light, right? Like they literally have light in so many of their attacks, and I can be like, oh well, oh, that could just be the Flash. It doesn't mean that it's that fast, right? But then like there's like these guidebooks that say, oh yeah, these are literally fucking lights, you know, like and like some of these characters like Udiyu, like his arrows are said to be light in the in the guidebooks. Even like the fodder fractions and the Espada that were like lower ranked that were they were like demoted, right? But like
Oh
but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
yeah
The
yeah yeah yeah
100s.
yeah. So like those like lower Espada, like even those fodder ones could still like showcase light speed level attacks, right? Or even faster. It's also really crazy too because like right in the start of the series, like a Menos Grande, which is like one of those big ass like hollows, it fires a Seto, which is said to be light, and Ichigo reacts to it like even before he learns how to use his power or even gets to Bankai. And then he fights off against Byakuya, and he uses his Bankai, which makes him a lot more makes him a lot faster. And this like Byakuya's Bankai is like basically this rose petal that splits into hundreds of millions of little
That
blades,
it's
and
bullshit.
and Ichigo literally reacted to all of them, like literally like deflected all of them. Like I
Yeah,
don't know how the fuck you do that,
I was
but he's
reading a
fast.
battle with Chuck today, and it was Byakuya versus someone. It doesn't really matter who he was fighting, but I was like, man, like
Audio.
imagine having to deal with 100 million light speed leaves coming from all
Jesus.
directions. Like, goddamn, like
Yeah.
relax. It's not that serious. So, yeah, like I definitely I've seen the speed stuff. Like I had someone comment before in a video, they don't expect me to get Ichigo above like lightning consistently, and I was like, huh? Like even the jobbers in the series have light based attacks. Like that shit's ridiculous. So I've seen I definitely know the speed thing you're talking about already. Um, and this is gonna segue into something I kind of talked with you about earlier, which was natural laws. Snook, don't do it.
Yeah, you did find a nuke though.
Okay, hold on. All right, let me rephrase that then.
Yeah.
Okay, due to government interference, particularly because it's juicy information, upon me reading it and consulting with Chuck and the fact that we're likely going to present this in the future, um, we're not going to speak on what I said we were going to speak on. But just know,
Skip that. You don't even have to mention.
like,
Just skip it.
hold on, no, I have to be edgy like this. Let me cook. So just know it's not hard. I think this is fair to say. It's not hard to find higher tier arguments in Bleach main manga. I'm not even talking about like obscure shit found in light novels or data books. I'm talking I was reading and screen sharing with Chuck and just pointed it out to him. And it's there and it's been there multiple times. So that's kind of why I think it's so weird. There's a lot of downplay. Because you'll see, for example, Naruto. Um, they'll say Naruto's universal, like Naruto fans, but then they'll say Ichigo is a lightning timer. Kind of like how Marvel and DC fans do each other, so I guess I can't really judge.
And
But
with Dragon Ball.
yeah,
Dude,
like
they're, oh, dude,
it's
dude,
rough.
dude, why can't people just be like us, bro? Like we don't downplay anything, bro. Okay, you know what? Actually, look. One Piece is probably like island level. Okay, like that's all I'm gonna say. So I don't know how true that is. But
Oh my
like,
god, you
okay,
just started a
if that's a
shitstorm.
downplay, if that's a downplay, then good.
Do I keep this? Yo, I'm cutting
That,
this out and I'm
yeah,
putting that at the video, beginning of the
that is
video.
okay. One Piece is island level. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
all I'm
all
gonna
they're
say.
gonna see at the beginning of the clip. Yo, One Piece is island
I've never
level.
seen
Yeah,
that
nah,
shit
that shit gonna be funny.
Oh man.
Yo, Ichigo or Luffy can't even swim, bro. Who gives a fuck? But back on topic.
Yeah, but I do think we should save
Yeah,
that.
nah, that's
That
good. Yeah, I think I covered why we're saving it, but yeah, I definitely, I guess to wrap this up, I definitely think it's weird the downplay on Bleach, and I'm gonna be coming at Bleach scaling with my own personally formed opinions. Um, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Finally, what I think will be the last thing we'll speak on is Aizen as a villain up to this point. I personally love him. Um, his intro was dope. He's a high intellect. I don't know what he's got his hands in. Like, as a reader, I'll be like, yo, is this an Eisen plot, or are they just running into more BS? Like, you never know.
Yeah.
So that part of him is great. If I knew Eisen was who he was because of the scaling community, but if I didn't, like, even reading it, even knowing that, I'm like, man, they did a great job of building him up, because you wouldn't have known he was the villain at the start. He wasn't presented like any semblance of a threat, and it was just built well. I'm looking forward to scaling him and doing content on Aizen. And I don't think I've ever actually asked you your opinion on Aizen. So, what do you think of Aizen, especially up to where I've left off?
Yeah. So, um, basically, like, just to clear up, like, where you are, like, we are like right after Ichigo beats Ukiura, and yeah, like Aizen and his gang already showed up to like Karakura town, but Aizen hasn't actually done anything yet, right? So that whole plot is still, still up to his mystery.
Yeah,
But
big gang fire
yeah,
is
yeah,
still up.
yeah.
They're still working on it.
But like Aizen's big twist was like in the Soul Society arc, which was the one before that, and like I think that like he's really patient. Like literally, he'll be observing and like letting shit like unfold for years and decades, right? I would actually say he's like the Palpatine of the series, honestly. Because he like
If you want
because like
Aiden versus Sidious,
he
this
like
is where you spam it.
like this is like he basically manipulated both sides pretty well, and what I really like about him is that like his demeanor and his looks at first was like, oh, like he looks pretty harmless. He looks like calm, right? He's always been calm, right? But like he looks like the kind of calm that you wouldn't expect to do some sketchy shit.
Man,
But
real shit, now that I think
but
about it,
then but then he did some sketchy shit, so people are like, what the fuck?
yo, you're right.
Like
He has a lot in common with Sidious, because both of them. So, like, I was surprised. I remember reading Aizen, and I was like, I think I even messaged you. I was shocked. He kind of revealed himself so fast and was like, yeah, whatever. I'm still going to get my plan off, bitches. And just dipped. I was like, man, like, that's a hell of a villain, Like, he's in it for the long haul, and he doesn't care who knows. Sidious was the same way, because it was movie 3 when he dropped the bomb. So, and he was still doing bullshit by movie 9. So, yeah, I definitely, man, we really might have to address this matchup at some point. I hope people like the comparison you made, because it might thematically make a lot of sense. But keep going.
but yeah, like pretty much just like the way he orchestrates like all these events, and able to make like these Espada, like they aren't really a team, right? Like I don't really think like if the Espada were in a team battle, I don't think they would have much chemistry because they don't really seem to fuck with each other that much, right? Um, like literally like half of the arc is just them fighting each other and killing each other, like Espada, they have no reason to like work with each other, but Aizen's power and his like um I guess his leadership and like his I guess like the fear that he brings in these fools that even by their own standards they're like fucking whack, right? Like they're always trying to kill each other and shit. But even they are like, yeah, we can't really fuck with Aizen. We have to we have to follow what he says, right? So it's like okay, like let's say that Sidious literally had like 10 of the biggest fucking baddest Sith like under his watch, right? Basically, that's basically what it'd be. Like if Sidious had a hold of Vader, Nihilus, and Bane and all that shit, right? Like all of them had to serve him, right? And they couldn't do anything, right? But yeah, but basically, like it's just a really really nasty villain that just makes all these other villains like bow down to him. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. He's like another king basically.
Yeah, I thought his villain intro was super dope. Like I said, I'm looking forward to making content on him. But with that being said, we did cut out a couple parts, obviously, for future content reasons. But I had a lot of. I mean, we were lit today reading Bleach. It's been pretty fun so far. I'd give the first half probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. This arc is,
Tell him what you thought about Kenpachi though, and
huh?
Ukiura, bro. You gotta tell him what you think about Ukiura and Kenpachi though.
Okay. Kenpachi, I've been a fan of because I've been a fan of him ever since his fight with Ichigo, and then he fought those 3 captains. Um, he's dope to me because of his abuse of a Zanpakuto. We haven't really seen that much success with that brute force of an approach to his power, so that's been super dope to see. Ukiura, I personally like the character when I saw he was an A tier shit talker. He showed that against what's that girl's name? The one that taught Byakuya the flash step.
Yoruichi? Yeah.
Yoruichi, yeah. So I think it
Brown,
was her.
Brown Bay, dude.
Yeah, I thought she was about. I think she was about to swing on him, and he was like, "Don't be
Yeah.
dumb." He's like, you know the vibes. If we start swinging, like, you don't scale to be. So like he's always like he had that confidence. That was just like.
He's like a power scaler of the series because he's
Oh
like,
yeah,
bro, why
I
are you
did
trying
make
to
that
fight
comment.
me?
Yeah.
I'm stronger than you.
No, I was literally reading it with Chuck, and I was like, "Yo, Ukiura withstood with 2 hands a blast from Holified Ichigo." And the shit that was funny was like a chapter later, Ukiura's brawling with him, and he's like, "Hey, dummy, I withstood a blast from you with just 2 hands." And I was like, "Yo, he's a power scaler. He's a legit power scaler." So yeah, Ukiura. He's gonna be on my channel too. He's probably my favorite Espada. I think number 9 was dope too. The one that copied one of the assistant captains.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not great with names in any series, but this was the dude with the only used his power in the dark.
Yeah.
Fought Rukia. But overall the first half of the series about 7 or 8 out of 10. Very interesting. I was gonna compare it to Naruto, but I'm gonna wait to do that at the end, so that I can do like a full comparison, just like my opinion on how they line up as far as like entertaining series. But yeah, anyways, Chuck, thanks for coming on, man. I don't know how much more live reads I'm gonna do with Chuck, but they're pretty entertaining, and we were flying. I think in call we got like 60 or 70 chapters done today.
For sure.
Yeah, so like definitely cooking on that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the future Bleach content. You'll be seeing MonsterVerse related content from Chuck soon, and hopefully Bleach down the line as well. But anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
One Piece is like island level probably.
Oh my god, he had the Rhea for it's the Ukiura power scaling, bro. He's just gonna say it, but nah, yeah.
Ukiura probably solos One Piece, bro. I've never read One Piece, but let me know if I'm right though. let me know if I'm right about that.
Yeah, let me know if that's a good hill to die on. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Chuck. It's been a blast researching this, and for those that don't know, eventually Chuck will be reading Yu. He's agreed. So that's gonna be dope. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Yeah, peace out, hosts.